There.
Yes.
Now, what about the increase in SBA loans? Is that good news?
It is good news in some respects. First of all, there is a queue of small business owners in the SBA's portfolio now, about 2,000 of them actually, that are waiting for this bill to pass. So they were queued up to get their loans, and what they were waiting for was the extension of the higher guarantees of SBA loans from 75% to 90%, which this act did, and the waiver of fees. So yes, for those businesses, it's going to amount to about $970 million in loan according to the SBA. That is good news. It's also good news that the lending amounts are going to go up from the SBA permanently. The 7A loans, which is the basic standard SBA loan, is going up from $2 million to $5 million available.
Good. Yeah.
The 504 loan program, which is for tangible assets, asset-backed lending programs, is going from I think it was like 2.5 million to 5.5 million. And also size standards are going to go up. So bigger organizations, companies with even $5 million in net income can apply for loans. So that's good news.
Now, what about the self-employment health deduction that wasn't previously there? That certainly seems helpful.
That is helpful because small business owners who are sole proprietorships cannot take a tax deduction through their business for their health care costs like corporations can.
Right.
So this year only, though, it's only good for 2010, they can take that deduction for themselves and their family members.
So it expires?
It expires. It's only good for 2010. And it's only good for sole proprietorships, which amounts to a large number of small businesses.
Sure.
But still, it's only good for sole proprietorships.
Any chance it might be reinstated after the end of the year?
Well, we certainly would like to see that happen. You know, healthcare is a huge issue for all small businesses.
Sure, sure. Now, what about increased expensing? That seems like it can be very helpful.
That is going to be very helpful. It's called the Section 179 under the IRS regulations, and actually that has been expanded now from $250,000 immediate write-off to $500,000, and that's through next year too. So the good news is that number was going to go down to $25,000 next year. So here's the key.
A huge difference.
Here's the catch-22 though. You know, do you have enough money to spend $500,000 on buying certain equipment and tangible assets for your business?
And you can't get a loan for it.
Right,
so.
you can't get a loan, so I don't know.
Oh my goodness. All right, so what about the legislation also carries back for tax credits?
Yes.
Is that correct?
In the past, small businesses who had excess tax credits in a certain year could only carry those back for 1 year, and then they had to carry those tax credits forward for up to 20 years. This new legislation now says you can carry those tax credits back for 5 years. So if you've had profitable years, that could mean some savings to some small businesses.
That'll help you extend your the life of your business, hopefully, if you're struggling.
Right.
Now, what about this increase in startup deductions? Because starting a business can be very, very expensive.
It can be, and that's good news.
Yeah.
This year, if you're starting a business, and once again, it's just for this year, $5,000 in the past, $10,000 deduction, but there's a threshold. You have to spend at least $60,000 in startup expenses. Most small businesses spend less than $10,000.
Right, so that doesn't help most small businesses.
Right.
I feel like everything I'm telling you,
it really is. There's a good news, bad news scenario.
And now, but there is a 100% capital gains exclusion.
There is. Here's the trick to that, though. It is only for qualifying companies, so you have to be a C corporation, and the investment has to come after the enactment of the Act, which was just a couple weeks ago, and be completed by the end of 2010. So unless you have somebody ready with a check to hand you, it's highly unlikely that's going to attract investment capital to